Hey, wow. Oh, sorry. Why would it come to me? When I gotta sneeze. Sorry. Now, I didn't plan that. I literally did not plan that. Just the sneeze came on right when it came to me. Sorry, it's like I got a little bit of allergies here. There's maybe something in my office that's throwing me off. Cool. I hope it's not anything too terrible. But yeah, there is. It's starting to rain like really badly here. Like it's weird. Why is it raining now? Anyhow, yeah. Welcome to the live stream. I haven't streamed in a couple weeks or in a week or so because last week was brutal. Last week was murder. Uh, I anticipated that these couple of weeks would be just brutal. I didn't realize, or I didn't really quite comprehend how brutal they would be. Coming off of some brutal weeks, it's like this is going to be brutal until we get this big project done. I'm doing the State of City for Elsinore this week. So that's what the plan is. But I got some things to a good place so I can take a break. And I figured I would get online and talk to you guys. One of the things I want to talk about, the subject matter I put on my little thingy here, is on the title here. And I know people always check out, they always think, well, I don't want to watch your 2-hour video live stream about a topic. Don't worry about it. We're just going to talk about this topic, and then we will talk about it for the first 10 or 20 minutes, and then we'll break open to like open chat. Basically, I'll just talk with you guys. So I want to talk about work-life balance. Or is there such a thing? And the answer, in my opinion, in my experience, having been doing this I literally started 20 years ago. I started my business doing video production. So 20 years of doing this, and the answer is no. There is no such thing as work-life balance in this field. There is no such thing as, you want to think, oh, I'll find my Zen. I will go eat, love, pray, and whatever, and then I will find my chakras, and I will find the work-life balance in the universe. And the answer is no. There is no such thing as work-life balance. The only thing you can do is essentially realize there are going to be times of aplenty where you're going to be working your butt off for a long time. You're going to be killing yourself, and then you got to balance that out with like sometimes it's like, after I'm done with that project, I'm just going to take a little break and find some other. There's no like daily balance. You got to do it like, think of a balance in the longer term, like over a year. Like, okay, I know this season I'm going to be super busy, and that's all I'm going to do this season. It's going to be busy. Then I know, and like for me, I know that December is going to be my light month. Like I'm going to get crammed a bunch of stuff in the beginning of December, and then when the holidays hit, it's going to be like nothing. So I'm going to have like weeks off of doing like no work, and that's my chance to recuperate, right? So there's going to be the work-life balance in like a long-term perspective, but in reality, like when you're working, there's no work-life balance. 8-hour day, that's for amateurs. It's like 12-hour day, 14-hour days. You're just working for, you can be doing that for periods of time, good chunks of a production. Now, I have a friend that did talk to me about like a movie production, right? If you're an editor in a movie production, toward the end of that movie, you're sleeping in the office. You're just working all the time. Okay, and at the very end. Now, after you're done with the movie, you get a few weeks off. You get a nice little break. So there's no such thing as work-life balance in this field. That's for sure. There is a book I recall called 9 Lies We Told about work, and work-life balance is one of them. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, look, you got to take a break, and I'm going to take a break. I'm taking a break now to talk to you guys, hang out with you guys. My eyes starting to twitch when that happens whenever time I'm staring at a screen for far too long. So I know it's time to take a break. Friends are going to get there for dinner and a movie. I'm going to come back to my house. We're going to watch a movie. I don't know what movie we're going to watch. We'll figure it out. It'll probably be a bad movie. What about the life's work? What about a life's work, face orange, raised eyebrow? Oh, there you go. I think that's an emoji that I didn't understand. What happens when you get sick on a movie set? Good question. Do they just replace you? Depends on what your role is. Obviously, if you're a PA, yeah, you don't come back. If you're a leading star, then they probably have to halt production or they have to shoot something else while you get better. So yeah, depends literally on where you stand. You know, if you're a cinematographer, you get sick, maybe you just take time off, and then you go on leave, and then you know the assistant cinematographers or some folks will kind of step in and execute your plan, you know, as best they can if you're sick. Um, there's a story about that movie that Olivia Wilde directed, where and she wasn't a sickness, she was just off doing whatever, and the actually the cinematographer and Florence Pugh basically said, you know what, we can't have her be gone all this time. We're wasting time. We need to shoot. So they decided to just go ahead and execute the plan and shoot a bunch of stuff on their own. And she came back, and I guess the story was that Florence Pugh had it out with her. That's why she was missing. But yeah, when people are not there, you just have to make do with what you can do. So I've been working like nonstop for a while, and I do need to like literally just take a time off. And I will after. Oh, well, I know I don't get to. I get to do some other projects, but after the State of the City, which is Thursday, I will be doing another State of the District thing, and then another State of the City thing. But that'll be all wrapping up mid-October, late October. So then November should be, other than like my regular scheduled stuff, I don't have any extra projects beyond that. And then December. I'm looking at the last 2 months of the year being kind of a little bit less crazy. I did shoot that table read, and I'm happy with the results. I need to put it together. And I also have another video on multicam I need to put together. So I guess I'll be tackling those. Oh, it's tiring. And then there's another sponsor that might want to do something too. Oh my God. Now I want to think about it. I want to think about it. Right. I want to talk about what you guys are talking about. Kate says, "Oh man, I had 2 times video speed. I'm still on. I was on your stream. I don't know how if you live stream on 2. So maybe I could just talk really fast and we just get through this really quick." Sorry. Hey, Jack Ripper, how you doing? Going back to hitting your guys' comments. The hardest and most frustrating work I do for 4 months in filmmaking. It also lowest pay, mentally damaging, demanding, and most satisfying. Not sure how anybody can raise a family on that salary. No, it's hard. Not if you're like the lower end of the spectrum as far as filmmaking, as far as what you know the entry level jobs or low jobs. Even some of the higher end jobs, you know, like there's stories about people in television production that work for like 16, 20-hour days back to back, where they'll work 20 hours a day, drive home, get like 3 hours of sleep, come back the next day and just do it again, you know, because television tends to be really, really tight schedules where they will work, they work for very, very long hours. And then people that are married in that situation and that married another person in the industry, it's like ships passing at night. Basically, one person goes to work, the other person kind of comes home, and then they switch. You know, they pass each other, and it's just rough. It's a little honestly. I mean, I work in corporate, so it's a little different. We don't have long work days because in corporate we're on the schedule of the corporations that I serve, corporations and cities and stuff like that, and they have a work-life balance. See, if you work for, you know, a corporation, you demand that we don't work on weekends. It's like, you know, like it's funny, I talk to cities about scheduling. I'm like, well, you know, I'm also available on weekends if that's easier. But no, they never shoot weekends. They don't shoot weekends. They don't want to go after 5. They don't want to get up before 9. So, you know, in that respects, it's a little easier. But like the crunch time editing becomes, you know, it's like what choice do I have? I have to edit this thing. I have to get it done. Luckily, I get paid by the hour. So yeah, I bill by the hour. So and believe me, if you get to the point where you can get clients that you can bill by the hour, that's the way to go. Like that way you can just spend your time on it and just bill them by the hour. And you can extract a pretty good, hopefully a nice chunk of change out of that. So I'll get a nice payday at the end of the month here. Well, it is the end of the month. I'll be sending an invoice with a nice large amount there, so I can get some payment here. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Would you say that cinematographers, directors, work in commercials achieve some work-life balance? No. No one in the industry finds work-life balance. Not not in a like a day to day idea. Now, like a cinematographer, yeah, you're gonna work like insanely amount or insane amount for like a short brief. You're going to fit starts and stops, right? So you'll work like 20-hour day for like 2 weeks, and then maybe you'll get a break. That's your work life balance. If you look at it from a large perspective, or they may not, or some of these guys just burn, 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 burn. They'll burn out. They have to take like a couple days, a couple weeks or months off. But it's one of those things where you're constantly bound. You're not. There's no balance. Like you just work and work and work, and then you have time off. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little allergies here. I know it's allergies because they'll go away as soon as I like change locations. But like kind of what the count was saying, it's sort of like a myth, the work-life balance, right? Did the peasants in medieval Europe have a work-life balance? They just worked and worked and worked. Sorry, I'm sniffling in the camera. You work and work and work until you harvest, and then you harvest, and then there's nothing to do for a while. So you have all your festivals and your winter festivals, and you just kind of hang out, and then you work at home and do other stuff, I guess. But yeah. Chris Nolan made his wife a producer. I think his wife, or was she his wife before she was a producer, or she was, I don't know. I think she was a producer before she was his wife. But they've worked together forever, I think so. They've worked on since their very first films. Yeah, I would love to have a partner like that, like a wife like that. Especially has a lot of money. There you go. Like the inheritance of the, like, I don't know, Saudi Arabian states. Sure, that'd be great. Let's get married there. So I'll tell you about the other thing that's kind of been bugging. So I've been working with city folks, and I do truly enjoy working with the cities that I work with because it gives me a new perspective on how governments work and how people get along with each other. And what I love about local city government, and I've seen this happen, is that people of all different political stripes have to work together. And they get to know each other, and it is literally working with your neighbor. People have to deal with each other. What I hate about city government is there are some people that are petty as F. I'm just avoiding swearing in the beginning of the this video. So I'll tell you the story. So in my town, there is a lot of controversy, and there's some culture war stuff going on. And honestly, it's getting really ugly. It's getting super, super ugly. And so what happened was the city is going to make a proclamation for the LGBTQ community. And a couple of the council members were a little bit shied from wanting to put the plus on the end of that proclamation, because they didn't understand what necessarily the plus includes. And then some people are saying, well, the plus might include pedophilia. And the city council does not want to freaking promote pedophilia, especially when this proclamation is kind of geared toward schools or BDSM or whatever it is. So there's like controversy. And if you think that's petty, then you have never been involved with city government, because government is, or any kind of government. Government is about pettiness. It's about identifying every tiny little definition of everything, right? And look, it's a legitimate argument. I understand where both sides are coming. I get it. Okay. I'm not going to be one of these people that's like, oh, you guys are hateful for not wanting to include the plus, when they have legitimate arguments and little questions what they're raising here. The problem is, though, the internet is not like that. And a lot of people in my community, at least a good chunk of my community, are in that group of people that I would say are classified as batshit crazy. I can swear now. Okay, cool. They are batshit crazy. And if you think I'm talking about the left, you're right. If you think I'm talking about the right, you're also right. So the right and the left are both segments of the population that are fucking batshit crazy. Like absolutely horrendously batshit crazy. Like crazy, okay? So I'm on Reddit, which I am intended to do. And I should not visit my Reddit for my town, because it is full of batshit crazy liberals. Like literally batshit crazy. If you don't want to put a plus on the, you must hate all gay people. You want to lock them all up and hang them by their throats till they're dead because you wouldn't put a plus on the proclamation. That's what they think. Like, they're literally batshit crazy. I'm sorry, I'm going to catch flack for this, but what the hell? Now, the other side is, the other batshit crazy side is, oh, you guys are all going to groom our children. But those people don't exist on Reddit, really, that much. Not in my Temecula, my Temecula Reddit here. Now, I usually I visit these things because I keep saying this, I'm a moderate. I'm right down the middle. And I'm not in the authoritarian camp. I'm literally like more libertarian, but I'm not left or right. I'm really almost right and down the middle because I hold views that are on both sides of the aisles, and that kind of just balances me out to the center. I wouldn't have. I check that Reddit because it allows me to exit out of my bubble for a little bit, and because I listen to a lot of more moderate voices, I would say, and I get a sense of the world as I see it. And it's my own echo chamber. I have, curated it for my own tastes. However, I like to just go tip my toe out and see the crazies to remind myself that not everybody thinks the way I do. And yeah, that particular article. So the guy was saying, people need to realize that the gay people are part of our community. They're our families. They are all our, they're our friends, our neighbors, and we need to stop persecuting them for not putting a plus sign on their proclamation. But never mind, they didn't get to that part of it. They were saying we need to stop persecuting gay people. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. Of course, I know lots of, I don't know lots of gay people. I know gay people, and I work with gay people, and they're lovely, absolutely lovely. But then I got sucked into the discussions for some bizarro reason. All right, you say, okay, we moved to political topics now. No more filmography discussion. It has a relation point. Wait for it. Here we go. I get sucked into this conversation because I'm looking at the comment section, and the comments say, they say, well, have you seen that video that the city of Temecula put out just last month? And I'm like, they're talking about my video. I made a little video, and I did it a couple weeks ago on my on the stream. I showed you the video. It was the one with the Queen song, Mr. Fahrenheit, right? Call me Mr. Fahrenheit. I'm traveling at the speed of light. I'm going to go out of you, right? So, okay, they're talking about my video. Now, I don't mind if you think my video sucks. It doesn't bother me. I'm on YouTube. I'm used to people saying my videos suck. All right, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. The guy that said, we need to treat we need to treat gays with respect. He says, oh man, that video is so fucking gay. I could be a better director than that. Like, you literally told everybody that we need to be tolerant. We need to we need to appreciate the gay people that live in this town. And then you're saying that, then you literally call the video fucking gay. Like, I wouldn't have responded because, like, I don't care. You don't like the video, fine. I'm on YouTube. I get called a lot of shit. I've been told to die because I support 24 frames a second. I'm cool with that. But you say we need to accept the gays, and then you call my video fucking gay. All right. Okay. Oh my God. So I was like, I had to jump in, like, I produced the video. I have no fucking clue what you're on about. So it's just, whatever. You gotta just accept the people there are some people, there's like a good chunk of people that are just batshit crazy. And I'm not going to put a political lens on it. They're batshit crazy. And then those batshit crazy people will just glom on to either extremes, like left or right. Doesn't matter. They'll just glom on to those things. And you know what? They're just batshit crazy. And there's just, anyhow, the toxicity of that freaking subreddit just got to me. Got me really, really, really down, depressed. Haters gonna hate, says Two Wheels and Wheeling in Tokyo. Absolutely. Look, I don't care. If you don't like my video, it's fine. But the fact that they would take such a hard line against that video, and they're like, oh, I can't believe they used a Queen song. You know, how can the city council use the Queen song when the Queen's gay? It's like, conservatives love Queen. Have you heard of "We Will Rock You"? Like, that song was like super popular in every, you know. I think Queen probably did more for the gay community in like the hard right wing conservative groups than anything, you know. Because I think most conservatives love like Bohemian Rhapsody and "We Will Rock You" and all those songs, and they accepted it. So I think there's anyhow, that's my own. I don't want to get too further political. I did want to keep it toward film. Yeah. So anyhow, I'm just saying, if you make some stuff, you put it out there, and you get bashed for whatever reason, like because they just went off the video thinking like saying it's I don't know, and then the worst part is the lead female is gay, and she's not like hiding the fact, but they called her a dude, which was like so the whole thing was like against homophobia, and then they're like calling it fucking gay, and then calling the lesbian lead in it a dude. It's like, really, like, you guys are just batshit. You guys are just batshit insane. You should not be listened to. Anyhow, fat bottom girls. Nothing wrong with that. Cognitive dissonance. I have no idea what it is. And then I was explaining to them like how city government really is. Like, you know, you guys online in social media have the luxury of sitting back and complaining about people and just saying the most nasty things about people. But if you actually go into city government and then you have to like sit on a dais with a person that maybe holds opposite views of you, and then like you know, you can try to, like, if you want to yell and scream and feel like be nasty to that person, it might make you feel good for about 5 seconds. But guess what? It doesn't last long, you know, and then they're going to be nasty to you. And there's no way to have a community together. Like, in order to have a community, that's what's the great thing about local government. It's like, you guys are a community. You have to learn to live with each other. And you have to learn the fact that, hey, the people over there are parents, and maybe they're not happy with their children being exposed to certain things at a certain age. Okay, we have to understand that. We have to like accept that. However, they have to also realize that, hey, you know, maybe these people aren't trying to like make your kids gay. You know, there's like, you have to accept the fact that we live with each other, and we have to accept each other's opinions. That's my bigger thing, because filmmaking isn't always about filmmaking. Sometimes filmmaking is about larger ideas. That's why I'm going to talk about this stuff. Left-handed puppetry. How you doing? I'm really sorry. In your society, sooner or later, the topic shall shift to how many genders we have. Blah blah blah. Yeah. Well, I you know, the thing is, with the right and the left as far as genders, I don't. You know, all these things, I sort of wonder if they are really fodder for discussion. You know, like, how many videos do you need to watch about how shitty She-Hulk is? 2? I mean, after I've watched like a couple commentators talking about She-Hulk, like, I'm over it. I'm done talking about She-Hulk. You know, or even Barbie movie, right? When Barbie movie came out, like, how many reviews of Barbie movie? How many times do you have to watch some people like Ben Shapiro barbecue a Barbie doll or burn it in a fire before you understand? I get their point. I get what their perspective is, right? But with the gender thing, it's like, how many times we got to go over it to just generate clicks, just generate heat on social media, right? Stepping back, it's like the further what I'm trying to say is, stepping back, it's like, it's a manufactured topic. It's like, it's not an issue that really concerns the vast majority of people. It's just a topic that entices people to interact with media. And we have to realize that, hey, that's exactly what that is. It's not even real. We're tilting at windmills, essentially, you know? Yeah, that's my opinion on that. Here in Canada, our Prime Minister honored a Nazi, so we're doing great up here. Yeah. You know, that was fun. That was a fun story for the right wing to hit on. All right. So that's my so on top of that, I'll get to your comments back in a little bit. On top of that, what I'm editing right now, one of the things I need to edit, I still haven't really got into it, was a police ride along I did about 2 weeks, like a month ago. And I've talked about this on live stream before, but now I have to edit this thing. And I also do a lot of city council live streams. So I take care, or help them capture the live stream, what's going on during the city council. And we have, as even though like I complain about the social media folks that sit there and complain, have the luxury of complaining and shouting at the council. We have one asshole. I'm afraid I don't think they'll get me for this. I won't name his name, but one asshole that gets up there and starts like he'll address the council, but only addresses like 3 of the 5, and will not address the other 2, which is just like a prick move, right? Anyhow, like these guys will come up there and they'll say, "What are you doing about the homeless situation? I see homeless people all the time. You aren't doing jack about the homeless situation." Well, I got to sit right along with somebody that did a homeless, the police, when they did a homeless thing. Like the homeless issue it's like a 24/7 issue. They can't do it all the time because they got other police work to do. But they do, you get together twice a week and they do a homeless task force situation. And I've talked about this. I don't want to go too much into it again, but the amount of work it takes to talk to these people, because they'll go and they'll get calls like, "Hey, there's some homeless people here." They'll go there, they'll try to talk to them. They'll if it's private property, they gotta like move them along. They'll check if they have warrants of it out for them. A lot of times they have warrants out, so they'll go to jail if they're out on a warrant. They'll off to jail with you. And then if they're not, it's like if they don't have a warrant and they're just like strung out on some drugs or something like that, they'll try to help them and say, "Hey, come to this crisis rehabilitation center." It's not a shelter. Shelter is different. Shelter is like temporary statement. Crisis rehabilitation, you get in there, you try to get yourself back to at least stable, and then you can figure out where you go from there. So they will take them into, they'll try to convince them to go into this crisis rehabilitation center, get clean, and then maybe get off the drugs, and then try to put their life back together. And they're relatively successful. But so what struck me about this was, we talk about homelessness from this kind of like cerebral approach, but when you get down on the floor, on the ground, you see the humanity of it. Like these people are not like gentle looking people. These are rough looking individuals. And these police officers, they join up with a social workers action group, and then what's called SWAG, and they join up with the code enforcement. They get together and they try to get people off the streets, a little bit at a time. And the social workers, they're talking to them, and it like melts my heart to see it. Like, and then I'm looking at the footage again, and I'm bringing back all these emotions. Like, all you assholes on social media that bitch and moan about stuff, you're not doing shit. Get on the streets and do some good. And anyhow, that's why I'm like, that's like it's all emotionally like hitting me. Plus, I'm like I don't have work-life balance, so I'm like super tired. I'm editing this stuff, which is emotionally challenging. That I'm seeing like the political crap, people like just yelling and shouting at each other because they're idiots and they don't know anything, and I'm just like, right? I'm trying not to blow the microphone out. So, and then one of the council members put up a video of his speeches in my city, and he said exactly everything that I felt in my heart, and now I like that guy. I mean, I get along with everybody. I try to get along with all the city councils. There's not a single city council member I don't like. I'm trying to be friendly to everybody. That's the whole point. But anyhow, yeah. So I don't know. I think my thesis of that: get off of social media. If you want to make a difference in politics, get off social media and get away from the political sporting arena that is politics on the internet, and go see what the real deal is. And I called myself a moderate, and then when I read it, some asshole thought, "Oh, you're a moderate, then you're the problem. Moderates are the problem." It's like, no, moderates are people that get shit done because we try to bring people together. We try to figure out a solution. That's what moderation. That's what being a moderate is. We try to find a solution. You're just being an asshole, and it makes you feel good because you're an asshole on Reddit. Well, let's see you do anything. Anyhow, that's just me. I'm just complaining. Sorry, I'm turning this thing into. But this is what happens when you work for like hours and hours and hours and haven't done anything. I mean, I only watched one episode of what's that show, One Piece. I watched one episode and I was like, okay, it's not bad, and I haven't seen anything else since then. I've been doing that. Okay, so I'll tell you this story before I get to your chat. Sorry about that, guys. So one of the things I also teach, right? So I teach a college class, and it's a junior college. So they're mostly younger students, like young as 18 to 22. So one of the things I wanted to try this year, and I think it worked, was I really wanted them to get to know each other and faster. So these last 2 weeks, I've been having them do group projects, which I basically let them have free reign. The school has like 10, 12 cameras, Blackmagic 6K pocket cameras. And I say, okay, first project was a scavenger hunt. I say, here's 10 items or 8 items. Like find something wet, find something that rolls, find something red, find something that you take a test with, and I gave them a scavenger hunt. Go shoot me B-roll of those 8 things, put together a 30-second commercial, put music on it. Okay, they did that. Then the second one was I wanted them to work in groups because I wanted them to test out shooting some interview style. So I said, okay, so you need to have each person needs to get in groups, shoot 4 shots. First shot, introduce yourself. Second shot, use broad lighting, and then tell me 2 truths and a lie. Pick one. Tell me 1 truth or a lie. The game is 2 truths and a lie. The first shot, broad lighting. Second shot, short lighting. Third shot, dealer's choice. Whatever you want in lighting. And then we'll get together and we'll play the game, two truths and a lie with the figure out. We'll do that next week when I'm back from the State of the City. All right? So I did that. And I'm seeing it. It worked. Like I'm seeing friendships develop. And that was the entire point of the whole thing. I wanted these students, this is like the intro to video class, I wanted them to get to know each other and to spend time with each other. And one of the things my boss told me to do was like, John, like one of the things you can do is just let them play with stuff. Let them play with stuff. You don't have to be there teaching them every single step of the way. Let them play with it. That's what I totally agree, 100% agree. But here I'm putting it more into implementation. So last week I had them all like running around shooting interviews with themselves, and I think they're starting to see some bonds forming, some people sharing numbers, talking to each other, and that is the key, I think, especially coming out of the pandemic, when everyone was so separated out. It's like we got to get back to community. You got to get back to being interpersonal. Again, that kind of ties into the whole thing when I was talking about city politics. Being interpersonal, learning to work with each other, despite what your differences are, despite what you think of whatever. Being able to work with each other, in a way, as people. That's so key. And I hate this whole idea of the internet I hate the idea of AI replacing everything, because it's not about AI, it's about people. And AI will never create a good movie. It's only people that create good movies. So anyhow, so that's my spiel. Have I gotten some unsubscribers? People that unsubscribe. He's a moderate. He's the problem. Unsubscribe. Sorry. I am a moderate extremist. So there's a song, and I've been going down a little bit of a Sondheim bent. There's a channel called Staged Right, which I've been kind of following, and he did a Sondheim documentary. He did a documentary on that. What's her name? That redheaded lady that was in Sondheim. Bernadette Peters. Anyhow, there is a song in Into the Woods that came out obviously in 1982, and I just wish people would go back to that kind of mentality. And the song goes like, I'll find the lyrics for you. Why not? So it's from Into the Woods. And the reason why I found that channel was because he did a video called "Why Into the Woods movie is so bad," and it's true because Into the Woods, the movie itself, just like strips away any meaning from the takes away the real meaning of the play, and it sidesteps it with all just kind of fluff. Into the Woods. Sorry, I'm sniffling here. All right. The lines I want to get to are here. Let's see. Let's start with this one. Feel you've lost your. You decide you are not. No, believe me, no one is alone. No one is alone. Believe me, truly. You move just a finger, say the slightest word. Something's bound to linger, be heard. No acts alone. Careful, no one is alone. People make mistakes, fathers, mothers. People make mistakes holding to their own, thinking they're alone. Honor their mistakes, fight for their mistakes. Everybody makes one another's terrible mistakes. Witches can be right. Giants can be good. You decide what's right. You decide what's good. Just remember, someone is on your side. Someone else is not. While we're seeing our side, maybe we forgot they are not alone. No one is alone. And to me, that is so substantially important of a statement that it's truly, truly important to think about that. And I got in a whole discussion about like hatred and how, you can, and someone was bringing up the paradox of tolerance, which I feel is a very sophomoric way of thinking about things. The idea that, don't dive into the well of hate, because no matter how righteous you think your hate is a poison well to draw from. And if you hate something, it will just cloud your soul. It's like the Nietzsche looking into the abyss and the abyss looks back into you kind of a thought. And the paradox of tolerance is the idea that if you're tolerant of everything and you're tolerant of the intolerant, then the intolerant will come and kill everybody, and then there'll be an intolerant society. Well, the question is, what do you consider intolerant? Like if you decide everything's intolerant, then you're the intolerant one. So it's a paradox, but you got to go through all the way through. What makes you think you're the one that's being tolerant? What makes you think you're not the one that's intolerant? Anyhow, I'm an old man. I've read the original. Have you guys ever read the original I Am Legend? It's way more profound than the movie. The movie kind of sucks, but I Am Legend, it ends. I'm sorry, spoiler alert, guys. I Am Legend. The hero is actually the bad guy. Like, he is the vampire. Everyone else is he thinks everybody else is a vampire, but he's the one that's the vampire. Anyhow, I'm going off on tangent. I'm getting tired. Let's read your comments. You can be alone if you choose to be, but it is more lonely if you don't sometimes. Yeah, well, that's not what we're quite talking about here. I love Bernadette Peters, the jerk. Bernadette Peters is a goddess among women. Like sometimes I used to shoot some stuff at the McCallum Theater in Palm Springs. All right, I will tell you the story here. So the McCallum Theater in Palm Springs is beautiful theater, and it's not Palm Springs, it's Palm Desert. Beautiful theater, but in the workroom, they've got this big giant mural of Bernadette Peters looking just unbelievably sexy, and I've never forgot about that. Like, Bernadette Peters is like the ideal woman as far as I'm concerned, like one of which. But Bernadette Peters once hit Bill Murray in the face with a toaster. Well, there you go. That just rakes her even higher in my. I look lighter today. I hope. Well, maybe not. I feel worse. I'll get to your Jack Ripper. I want to get back into it. Public places that start to be ruled strict produce hate. Okay, that's a good point. So and then I was listening to James Lindsay talk about the paradox of hate or paradox of tolerance. And it's true. If you don't tolerate the hate, going back to Karl Popper, like that, the whole tolerance and paradox of tolerance is just like a footnote. There's something more to be said there. Like, you got to fight the intolerance with rational discussion. If you make it private, if you outlaw intolerant speech, if you outlaw it, then all you do is you put it underground. And that's when you have no idea what's happening with it. And then it can get really dangerous. So absolutely, I think that's what you're saying. Don't make it private. If you make it private, it festers worse. And we don't want that. All right, Jack, I'm going to talk about this. I got to talk about this seriously. That Lex Friedman, Mark Zuckerberg interview. I'm surprised no one said it, but they couldn't have picked more robotic people to do that, right? I mean, if you wanted to show off your metaverse technology with the least human-looking people in the universe, wouldn't you pick Mark Zuckerberg and Lex Friedman? I mean, those guys are not known for their expressive faces, right? It's not like you put like Robin Williams. I know he's dead, but like someone like Robin Williams in that. I don't think Robin Williams would be able to handle that technology, would be able to handle Robin Williams. But Zuckerberg and Lex Friedman, that's no problem. I mean, heck, you can do that, pull that off. Was it impressive? Yes, it was. But they wowed about it. And, I was just talking about how we need a community. I hate that technology because it's not community. And, well, John, it's so realistic. It feels like, yeah, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. And okay, it's cool. I like it, cool. Technology is cool. Yeah. And we can use that technology obviously to make movies and, to replace background actors, just scan them. I'm sure that in the future, there's got to be like a stock background actor you can just buy for like $300. And then you could just like animate that stock background actor. Somebody will agree to, have their image scanned and be like virtual background actor. You can just put them anywhere you want. A royalty-free stock background actor. So technology is cool. I love it, but like I hate the idea that that's going to be replace human interaction. I hate it because I think it's so stupid to think. Why would you want that? Why would you want that? Like when we went through the pandemic, why would you want to be miles apart and have to have goggles on to see another human being? Why would you want that? It's just sad. I hate it. I really, really, really hate it. It's cool, but I hate it. Thank you. I hate it. I think the point of Into the Woods is no one holds all the answers to questions of morality. So this is what, Disney Corporation preach, and I haven't watched it. Don't watch the Disney version because they cut out stuff. They cut out stuff that addresses those points. It's horrible. It's not a horrible movie. It's okay. It's an okay movie, but it's like it's a shadow of what the play actually is. And so they are doing it next week, and I honestly did not want to do the play. I don't want to play trumpet on that because I've seen it enough. It's one of those plays that's it's a powerful play. It's not my favorite, but it's up there. It's one of those things that's like I feel its worth and its importance. I just don't want to do it every night for 15 nights. It's that's the thing I feel about. In 2023, there's a Karen on every street corner, usually yelling at another Karen. Yeah, well. So in Temecula, we have this one guy who sits on the street and he's a right winger, and his sign says "Men and women marriage is for men and women only." So he's like anti-gay marriage. It's like, well, dude, that ship is passed. Don't worry about it. But here's the thing: people can't really go after him because he's black. So let's see you mess with that, left wingers. Anyhow, but then there's so we have this thing called the duck pond, which is like literally a duck pond, right? So it's in the middle. It's like toward the middle of the city, and every time the weather is good and it's a weekend, there's always somebody like protesting there. Like, so they're holding signs and things like that. Like, oh, cool, you go to the duck pond, you protest. And people like drive by and they honk their horns if they believe it, or they don't honk their horns if they're not in agreement with it. And it's like, wow, protesting, go protest at the duck pond. That will make a difference. You're only out there because it's a nice sunny day. That's the reason why they're out there. If it's raining like this, they're not going to protest. It's not even near City Hall. Anyhow. Us background actors have a huge problem with being scanned and kept for later. That's one of the things that being brought by the actor strike right now. Exactly. But I mean, figure like somebody, like why can't an entrepreneuring background actor be like, okay, well, I'm not SAG. I'm just going to scan myself, and I'm going to offer myself to be used as a background actor. That's not a, and then like literally like completely different, completely off the subject of SAG, right? Not movie. I'm going to put myself out there for like architectural designs. I'm going to put it out there for, music videos or whatever, non-narrative stuff, corporate work. Just use me for whatever. I'll be your meta-human, or meta-human, like a meta-human, kind of like the whole NVIDIA meta-human stuff. Yeah. Anyhow, all this topics we discuss is because too much of free time. Utopia isn't that good, I guess. Utopia is like never, like I don't think there's ever a utopia. Wasn't the term utopia is also kind of like a backwards term? It's kind of like everything's wrong with it. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going down. I don't know what I'm saying. I forgot the name who said it, but the problems with defending liberal values and fighting oppression is that you always have to stand alongside toxic people because these will be the first to be oppressed. That's true. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. See, back in the day, remember how the ACLU used to get like ACLU defended the Nazis. So the ACLU actually had lawyers fight for the Nazis' right to speak, right to assemble, because they were so hardcore First Amendment that they literally had lawyers like fighting on behalf of neo-Nazis. And it's true. That's a liberal value. Free speech is a liberal value, and one that I hold very, very dearly in my heart. Free speech, and I will let the liberal or the Nazis speak and march down the street all day long. That's fine. The ACLU does not do that now. Am I allowed to discuss the budget? I don't really want to talk about the budget because that's literally how I got paid. I was the budget. Like I didn't really pay. I paid some people to help me, but the budget went to me. That's how I made. How I broke it down was basically we were shooting since January. So they'll call me and say, hey, we're going to shoot the ice rink. And we shoot at the ice rink. Hey, we're going to shoot the Stampede. And we shoot the Stampede. And then we're going to shoot the mall. We organize this thing. We're going to organize that. So it's like pieced together over the period of like 6 months. A little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. And it was all based on that California commercial originally. The California ad. Like tourism ad. Literally we lifted the music even, we took the music from that ad and used it for the commercial. And it was just like picking out, spots in Temecula that worked out that we wanted to showcase. And, a lot of it was improvised, right? So a lot of it, you're on the site just looking at what's available and you're trying to plan the shot. Like a lot of stuff, amazingly, a lot of stuff comes out of the edit. Like I didn't know I was going to make certain transitions. I was just kind of giving myself a lot of different shots. I wanted a lot of movement, obviously in the shot. I like the one guy that called it gay was saying that I didn't block any shots. It's like, oh, put your drone away and block some shots for Christ's sake. Like, all right, that makes sense. Idiots. Anyhow, but yeah, so movement was a key factor in that commercial. Like just having lots of movement. Some transitions were planned. Like we wanted a spinning chair to spin to the other shot. Or camera movements are kind of planned. Obviously the flying stuff was planned, so stuff like that. But the budget was me. The budget was me, and then whatever the city could pull together as far as like what they did. And I don't think Dean Norris was paid for that. I think they just asked Dean Norris to be in the show, and he agreed. And because he's obviously invested in the city of Temecula too. Like what's good for city of Temecula is good for him because it's like advertising his restaurant. So that's all, that's all small town politics for you. Thank you for that question though. Disney's answer to everything is, hey, let's remake it and let's make it live action from what we did. Screw originality. Originality costs money. I don't understand why Iger still is maintaining with that, with those failing strategies. Like they should just stop immediately with the remake stuff. Well, they will when they start losing substantial more amounts of money. Did Little Mermaid make any money like worldwide, or did it just kind of break even? I don't know. But when they start really losing money, that's when they'll stop doing them. And let's all agree not to see the movies. Yeah, Giants in the Sky is a great song. Giants in the Sky. My favorite song is the one that Princes sing. Agony, much more further than yours. Rigel7 says, quote, John Hess says, use me for whatever, baby. Yeah. That's what I say. Dystopia. Yep. Everything wrong, utopia. Everything good. I don't know. Okay, you're going to make me look it up. Original definition of utopia. Okay. The coined word utopia from the Greek utopos, meaning no place or nowhere. It's a pun, almost identical to the Greek word utopos, meaning good place. So utopia means no place. It doesn't exist. So that's what I was thinking. It literally means no place. There we go. What do you think is the minimum duration of the film to be considered feature length? That's a good question. I think at least 60 minutes. I know you just said 40 minutes. I think 60 minutes is probably the minimum. That falls under the definition of who's defining it. Like, I know the Academy probably defines it. I think it's 60 minutes. I think the Academy has the Academy of MP Motion Pictures and Arts Academy of whatever MPAA. I think they say 60 minutes. Film festivals will define it themselves too. So 40 minutes is a marker that a lot of film festivals use for demarcating feature lengths from short films. And that's really more of a blocking situation. Like, how do you block these movies, right? If you have a shorts block, you can't have one 40-minute short in a shorts block, because all the other because then the block is like usually 90 minutes, and all the rest will be like a bunch of other small movies and then a 40-minute movie. Like, it doesn't quite work. So yeah, I think 60 is probably the dividing line. But Jack Ripper says 70 minutes we consider feature length, but there are some movies that are just shy of 70 minutes that would probably be considered how would you treat a 65-minute movie? Is that a short? Like, that's not really a short. But then again, it's like, would you consider a 59-minute movie a short? Like, no. So I think 60 is probably where I would put it. But then again, it's one of those, gray areas. It's like, it's kind of like a cluster, right? Like, if you had like a graph, right, and you'd have like 20 minutes, 10 minutes, and then like 60 minutes and 120 minutes, right? And you like put all the movies, like, they would cluster around, like, they probably cluster between 60 and 120, and then probably the 3-hour mark. Those are like those clusters. And then shorts, you get what I'm saying. I'm not saying like a cutoff or anything. Cancer said, I wouldn't pay admission price for a 40-minute movie. That's a good point. The popcorn and drink prices alone would be too much. But the thing is, do you ever have popcorn until, like, I usually finish my popcorn in the first like 20 minutes of a movie. Like, I never get to have popcorn at the end of the movie. I'm usually just done with my popcorn in the first, like, sometimes even by the end of the trailers, I'm done with my popcorn, especially with small popcorn. I don't know. Yeah, the TV episodes have gone to 60 and 65 minutes, or 70 even, really, right? The weird thing is, when we were growing up, Jack, I think you're probably my age or close, or maybe a little older, but when we were young, like, television shows were 40 minutes long because they get commercials. Nowadays, they don't have commercials, so they're all 60 minutes long. Anyhow. What else am I missing here? Isn't Disney remakes due to risk aversion? Yeah, I think so. We know the remakes failed, but we don't know the originals that failed. That said, I think design by committee tends to be craps. And works tends to be crap. Yeah. That's the thing. The beauty about filmmaking is it is kind of like it's not designed by committee. It's more like design. A good movie has everyone supporting the central vision, right? And it's not designed by committee. So the reason why design by committee works or doesn't work, and I'll tell you. Here's a story from my own life. I was part of a community band, concert band, and they formed a committee to pick a new uniform T-shirt that we would wear, or uniform shirt that we would wear to concerts. Now, some people liked this type of shirt. Like some people like this type of shirt, and they could never agree. And they finally compromised. And they came out with the worst shirt possible. Okay. So it didn't have any style. Like people couldn't agree on the style. They thought, fine, we'll agree on this one shirt. And it looked like a light blue shirt that you would wear to go to change a tire. That's basically what the shirt looked like. It's a light blue shirt made of like a tough fabric. It wasn't itchy, but it was like just a thick fabric, like a canvas kind of fabric, light blue shirt that looked like something somebody that worked at a tire changing place would wear. And that was a committee. Good job, committee. You guys compromised and you found the worst. The worst possible thing. Anyhow. Keenster says, TV episodes are 22 to 24 with commercials. It's half an hour. Anime is different. Anime goes about 11 minutes. I think SpongeBob before commercials reappear. There you go. Is the opposite of something that does exist something that exists, or could it be something that is the opposite and also does not exist? Let's read that again. Is the opposite of something that does not exist something that exists, or it could be something that can be the opposite and also does not exist? Ooh, there's a philosophical thing. If I think of something, what's the opposite of a non-existent thing? Well, it would be non-existent because they're the opposites. Oh, I can go with that. I'll follow that philosophy train. Malthea says there is a Soviet sci-fi animated film with really fluid animation and amazing visuals called The Mystery of the Third Planet. It's barely over 40 minutes. Well, animation, though, for 40-minute animation, that'll probably be closer to feature. Animation tends to be shorter on the feature length because it takes a lot more time to draw all those frames. So, like what Dumbo is like the shortest one. Isn't Dumbo like 30 or 63 minutes long? Let's look it up. Dumbo, 1941 film, and it is 1 hour and 4 minutes, so 64 minutes long. I remember Dumbo. I haven't seen Dumbo since I was a kid, man. That's such a long time. I'm sure now if you watched it, though, because they kind of cut out a lot of stuff that's not like appropriate for kids these days, it's probably down to like 40. Because you got to get rid of the crows, because the crows are like Jim Crow and all that crap. They got to get rid of that. That's not appropriate. So, no, bye. Can't have any of that stuff. Even Google does not. Let's see if Google. Nope, Google has it in here. I didn't know Cliff Edwards was Jim Crow. Cliff Edwards is pretty cool. Now I'm thinking of somebody else then. Cliff Edwards. Yeah, Cliff Edwards is the voice of Jiminy Cricket. Yeah, I like Cliff Edwards. He's an interesting character. Very interesting looking character, too. I didn't know he was Jim Crow. Okay. Anyhow, very interesting. Very interesting. All right, what am I talking to? Where am I talking to over here? All right, here we go. You like me? Thank you, Rio. I like you too. Yeah, designed by committee is to synergize ideas, probably great ideas individually, but mixing them together requires too much skills. Yep. Question for you, Kanester says. So we have a writer's back on staff, and the late night shows are back on the restart, but with the actor strike, how will they find guests or who appear on the shows? Love Colbert. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know how to answer that. I don't know. That's a good question. That's a great question. Yeah. What's the point of a late night show if there's no stars these days? I mean, back in the day, maybe they could like bring in like Johnny Carson used to bring on like regular people and talk to them. But I feel like today's late night shows are kind of a shadow of what they once were. And I see Wes Anderson. I saw a thing about Wes Anderson's new Roald Dahl stuff. I should check that out. Like, I literally have not seen, and I mean, I watched One Piece, that one episode of One Piece, and that's all I've watched. I've literally been working I get home like at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and I just like, I've been doing a lot. I've been getting into brewing because I hit my midlife crisis. So instead of buying a Porsche, I decided to start doing my own home brews. And because my backyard has been growing like a bunch of fruit, So I had a bunch of grapes I grew in my backyard. I didn't grow them; they just kind of grew wildly. I bottled that last night. So I bottled my first wine, and I did back sweeten it with like store bought grape juice because I like my white wine sweet. I'm sorry if that offends you. If you need to cancel me because I like my white wine sweet, go ahead and cancel me now because I like my white wine sweet and fruity, just like my women. Okay, but yeah, I've been doing that. So my free time, I've been kind of like messing around with home brewing. So I've got a wild Asian pear meat or a pear cider, which I'm calling the Asian pear suasion. It's about a 5% alcohol pear. It's okay, but some of the wild yeast got in there and it started tasting a little funky. So I immediately cut that off and bottled it. I got a berry mead, which I put too much honey in, and it's like a 20% alcohol by volume, so that's pretty strong stuff. I'm going to let that mellow out a little bit. I've got a blueberry cider. It's not bad. I'm going to try that in a little bit. I've got what else do I have in there? I've got four. Oh, a cherry mead. No, cherry mead is the one that's 20% alcohol. And then right now I've got brewing an apple cider with like heavy cinnamon notes. I want to put some vanilla in the secondary. So it's going to be like an apple pie mead or apple pie cider, that is, sorry. And then I've got a guava beer because I was going through Costco and looking at things to brew with, and I saw the guava nectar had 20. So I was looking at the guava nectar ingredients list. It didn't have any the preservatives. That's cool, but I was looking at the sugar content, and the sugar content said like 70 grams of sugar or whatever, which is like 50% of your daily allowable intake. I'm like, okay, this will brew real well then. So I got guava beer going, and then I've got a pineapple mead. I'm going to put some coconut extract in it in the secondary. So it'll be a coconut pineapple mead. I'm going to call that, do you like pina coladas? Or maybe I'll call it getting caught in the rain. That's what I'm going to call it. Getting caught in the rain. Have I tried any Coppola's wines? No, I'm not really a wine guy. So I make my own because I like my wine. I'll make my own wine. But there is a brand called Hess Wine. If you go on the stores, you'll find Hess Wine, and that's my vineyard. That's the vineyard that I occasionally visit. Yeah, that's one of my brands. Just kidding. I don't own that. I don't know. I don't own that vineyard, and I also don't. I'm not the brother of the guy that made Napoleon Dynamite. So sorry, guys. I'll take the bullet, says Jack D. Ripper, and go on Fallon and laugh with him. Just laugh. Elon will fix the stars. There you go. We all trust Elon to fix the stars. If we're in an open discussion session, I have a question. Would you agree that it's reasonable for an actor to ask the director for cuts of their performance from the final edit for the reel? Especially, okay, so, well, I'll caveat that. If they have been paid for their work, then yeah, I mean it's always okay to ask for cuts for the reel. It's never not okay to ask for the cuts. It's not okay to ask for cuts before the movie's released, though. So you have to wait till the movie's released. And if you are working for free, if the actor is not getting paid for the job, it's an obligation for the director to give them material for the reel. Absolutely. But yeah, it's totally reasonable for an actor to ask the director for cuts. Absolutely, totally cool. Now, they might be super busy, so. Rio says, if I decide to off myself, what's the best frame rate to do it? Obviously, higher the frame rate, the better. But don't do that. I don't want to get canceled. I don't want to get demonetized. Please don't do that. Making a feature-length animation is insanely hard and expensive, so the area of shorts is where animation thrives the most. The National Film Board of Canada has an insane library of animated shorts. And remember, like all animation was shorts, right? It wasn't until 1932 that Disney made the first feature-length animation, and that was a big thing because animation were all shorts because it's insanely hard to make animation. I'll bet you only make. The reason why I made wine because I literally had like 10 pounds of grapes. And I'm like, what am I going to do with all these grapes? They're not that good. Like they weren't good table grapes. They weren't good for eating because they were a little too tart. I was like, well, I got to do something with all these grapes. I have a friend. He actually did submit a video way back when we did like a film competition at Filmmaker IQ, but he submitted a film noir. But anyhow, But my friend, he does brewing. It's all he does. Or not all he does. It's his big thing is doing brewing. He's a big mead maker. And I was like, hey, how do you make wine? He's like, showed me, and they gave me like let me borrow a carboy and some ingredients, and that started me down this path of that's what it started my midlife crisis. That's what literally started right there. Yep, there you go. Soviet Union has insanely influential, diverse, and huge library of animation that's not mainstream here in the West because of the Cold War, but the overall isolationism. Their animation owes nothing. Or owes nothing? Anyhow. I disappeared right before we answered, at least for you? Uh-oh. Oh, sorry. Let me see. Am my internet dying or something like that? No, it says I got a pretty good connection. Huh. Well, let me know if it happens again. Oh yeah, it is blinking on and off, isn't it? Well, hold on. Let's see what my internet's doing. Maybe I need to like hold on. Let me just stop the stream and I'll call you right back. Alright, I am back. Let's see if that's any better. Yeah, because it's weird. YouTube is saying I've got an excellent connection. Nope. There it goes. So YouTube is saying I've got an excellent connection, but my internet stream health. And it's saying stream is healthy. So, I don't know. If it's too bad, we'll probably go off. But let me know if it's still bad. Task manager? Let me try that. I think the computer seems to be handling okay. All right, let's see more details. Performance, yeah, I'm not anywhere near any redlining anything. Oh, the Wi-Fi is at the peak. Should be pretty good. Crackling is very light, not too bad. Huh? That's crackling. Or maybe it's my garage door banging about that's crackling. That's what you're hearing? I don't know. Don't trust YouTube. That's a good point. Never trust YouTube. I hate when someone says it's a YouTube influencer. It's called YouTube influencer or YouTube star. No, they're just some idiot who happened to get a lot of viewers, like on what they did. No star. I was watching. So I don't know if do you guys ever go on YouTube and not log in as your user, and then you get fed what the normies see, like not your curated subscriber algorithmic fed stuff, but like what's considered normal YouTube, and it's like, oh my god, this stuff is like terrible. So this one girl, it wasn't terrible. She's just a very cute girl, and she's like reacting to stupid TikTok videos. Am I crackling a bonfire? Oh, let me see. Let me hear. Let's hear if it's on my side. Let's just hear it. I'm gonna get some feedback here, so watch out, guys. Here goes. Am I crackling over here? Yeah, I am a little bit. So it's a. Am I crackling now? Yeah, it's happening on my. It's happening on the actual camera side here. Huh? I don't know. Let's see here. Maybe I gotta click on something over here. Let's hear it again. It's crackling. It is crackling, like a fire. Maybe it's the weather. Let's see here. Cable legit. I haven't touched anything since the last time I was here. It is crackling. Is that something to do with this? Nope. All right, well, let's do this. I will be right back. I'll restart my streaming software. Let's try that. All right, be back. And we return live. Ooh. Okay, so I did restart and didn't think the crackling was going. I feel like the crackling's going away, but let's see. Yeah, it sounds like the crackling's going to go away. Maybe maybe got caught in a cosmic stream. Ooh, it's October. Well, tomorrow it is. What is your XLR input? the computer. I don't have one, and I've never seen one. I'm not using XLR input. I'm actually going XLR into the camera, and the camera going SDI into the computer through a Blackmagic deck link. But if you did want to use XLR input, use a Focusrite like a Scarlett 2. Those are really popular. Or you can use like a mixer with a USB. So that's what I would use. What are your thoughts on Supernatural? Any personal experience? I've never seen that show. I don't honestly yeah. I don't know. I'm more of a scientific skepticism. It started when you went off for a second and came back and it was crackling. Yeah, it should be good now. I think what it was something got off in the computer, and it like literally like it's starting to like click like spaz out a little bit, and I just restarted. I'm using vmix to send out the signal, and then I just got rid of it. How about Fleabag? I love Fleabag. Fleabag is one of the greatest. Is a really really good show. It really, people hate that one gal, whatever her name is, the 3 name girl, whatever. She did such a good job on that show. She really did. And that's why she's getting all this other stuff, which she may not be appropriate for. But I love that show. Being critical of continuity errors in cinema, is cinema level skin awful? Yeah, I really don't like cinema sins. Really, yeah, it's not good. Yeah, my favorite fourth wall break, Mark, is that in the second season when when she looks at the camera, she does the fourth wall break, and the preacher's like, "Who are you talking to?" And that the preacher actually sees through it, right? Which is like a brilliant like character development for that preacher. It's such a good show. It really is. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is her name. That's her name. Yeah. Now, she may not be appropriate for Indiana Jones. You might be able to argue that she was trying to play a part, but it didn't quite work, I don't think. But that show was just tremendous. So, anyhow. Any other comments? Let's see. I watched Iron Giant. I finally watched that movie. I've never seen it before. Can you believe that? I've never seen Iron Giant, but I watched it and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really fun. And I love the fact that it was Harry Connick Jr. in the part of the dude that helps the little kid out. Cause I was like watching the movie, and it's like, it's obviously animated in a style that's sort of reminiscent of 50s kind of, well, obviously it takes place in 1950s, Sputnik era. But then they get this like Harry Connick Jr. and when he heard his voice, I'm like, that's Harry Connick Jr. It made him look just like it, and he has this whole like the beatnik look to him. So I totally loved that. I really enjoyed that movie. So and immediately after I watched Pee-wee's, not the Big House, Pee-wee's, the Pee-wee Show. Is that the name of the show? So it was 1983 or 81. Pee-wee Herman Show, I think it was called. 1981. Because I don't know if you guys, I never watched the Pee-wee Herman TV show, like Pee-wee Herman, Pee-wee's Playhouse. I never watched it as a kid. I never was into it. But and then I became an adult, and for some reason I found Pee-wee Herman hysterical. Like I went to they used to hire me to go out to the Celebrity Impersonators Convention in Las Vegas. And I would record like the events that happened there. And they had this one Pee-wee Herman impersonator. And when he was like on camera, I just couldn't stop laughing. He's like, he's just doing the whole Pee-wee thing. And it made me I found that so freaking funny that I went back and rediscovered Pee-wee Herman. Now, I don't know if you guys have whenever I find something I love, I immediately go to Wikipedia and I read about it. I drill down, like, how the hell did this happen? So I went back and I've in the process of the old Filmmaker IQ, when I used to do like dailies, I would talk about Pee-wee Herman. I did a whole thing on Pee-wee Herman, and I read back about how where it got started and how it was Paul Rubens, obviously, but Phil Hartman was a big supporter. I guess what happened was Paul Rubens tried out for SNL and didn't get SNL, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna go do my own thing." So, but Phil Hartman was really impressed with Paul Rubens' work, so they shot this thing in 1980, like 1981, called the Pee Wee Herman Show, and they shot it in one of the theaters in Los Angeles, and it's obviously more adult because it takes place like in a dinner theater. So there's a bunch of adults at tables, and it's like a comedy club kind of atmosphere, and it's just weird, and just bizarre, and it's like the amount of commitment required to do that. Like, I would feel if I did it today, it wouldn't land. I mean, I guess it barely landed back in 1981. Like, I think people liked it, but a lot of people were like, "What the fuck is this?" It's so weird. But man, I just, if you do get a chance, check it out. HBO Max. This is the Pee Wee Herman Show, the 1981 edition, not the 19. There's like a later one that they did on Broadway, but the original one was so. It's something that would play at the. You guys ever heard of the Fringe Festival? Like, the Fringe Festival's for experimental art, usually experimental comedy, music, and stuff like that. And yeah, I would recommend checking that. So I literally watched. So okay, I'll tell you that. I watched Iron Giant, and then I was like, oh, this is a great night. It was like one night off one night I took off last week. I think it was Sunday night. I was like, I'm just not going to work Sunday. I'm just going to take it off and just veg for a while. So I watched that, and then I watched, forgive me, I watched the Naked Dating Show. You guys know about this Naked Dating Show? What is it even called? Naked Dating Show. It's called Naked Attraction. All right. So I watched, it was on HBO Max. They had like 6 seasons of the thing on Naked Attraction. And I was watching a little bit of that, and I ended up fast forwarding through most of it. I was like, all right, let's get to the part. I don't need to see all those penises. Let's go to the part. Okay. Oh, there she's naked. Okay. That's all right. Then you go to the next one. So I watched a little bit of that, but I got bored so quickly because it's like, I don't want to watch a dating show, especially about, naked people. So, but what weirded me out about the Naked Attraction show was how, like, everybody it's a very British show in that they're all talking about small towns in Britain that I would never know about, I would only know that through osmosis for watching a show like Naked Attraction. It's the only way I could tell. I know about what's an example, like Oxford on the bridge or whatever. I don't know. One of these smaller towns, right? And anyhow, show I thought was kind of boring. I was like, it's kind of, it's not as scintillating as they make it sound. Naked Dating. It's kind of like more, I didn't get into it. Then I was like, what else is on? Oh, the Pee Wee Herman Show. So I went from Naked Dating, Naked Attraction to Pee Wee's Playhouse, or Pee Wee's Show, and that was my night. That's what it's like being John, pervert. Yeah, Naked Attraction. It's just not very good. So what they do is they have the person come out and they're fully clothed and like, okay, so we've lined up 5. It's like the dating game. We've lined up five suitors for you, and they're all in like these boxes. And so what they do, first thing we'll do, let's show you the bottom half, and the box like slowly comes up half, so it's like halfway. So now you see the bottom half of their body. So you see floppy penises and vages and fun stuff, right? And butts, right? And then the person has to like decide, okay, what do you like? And it just felt like, ew. It just felt kind of gross, honestly, to be sitting there like, oh, that person's got a nice dick. That person's got a nice vag. That's pretty hot. I like the way it's tucked in like that. That's very, like you put a bow on it. Oh yeah, that's a nice looking schlong. Turning to Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald, yeah. That man's. I'm not going to tell any lies here, but that dude's got a nice little schlong. Yes, indeed. And then after that, they say, okay, which one do you like? I think then they raise it up to the just under the neck, and then you see the boobs and the chest and all that. And like, oh yeah, that woman's got a pair of knockers that'll make the cows come home. Yeah, good job, Norm Macdonald. All right, so then they'll pick. Then based on that, they'll eliminate like one person, and the person leaves, and then eventually they reveal their faces, and then like they keep whittling down to two people. So two people come out there and they're naked, and they're talking to the clothed person who's on the contest, and then at that point the person that's clothed has to go back and like get naked and come back out. So they're all naked, they're all talking to each other, and they're like, "Hey, you look good. You look good there for a heifer." Oh, childbearing hips there, Norm Macdonald. Anyhow, so yeah. Oh my God, this is Wendy's, people. This is Wendy's. Anyhow, but yeah, so then they pick, and it's like, I don't care. I don't care anymore. Anyhow, so that's why I got tired of that show. It did not really keep me. Is this a Christian server? Oh, what happened to all the Christians from last time? They all went away. I love those Christians. I love those Christians so much because that's what Christ would do, would love everybody. You make it sound way more wacky than it is. It's not even wacky. It's very clinical. It's very like if Norm Macdonald was on it, I'd watch it. There you go. Norm Macdonald would host that show. I think that'd be really good. Oh my God. Gilbert Gottfried, he's still alive, right? Gilbert Gottfried's still alive? Please be alive. Don't tell me I forgot whether he died or not. No, he died, didn't he? Gilbert Gottfried. I can't remember if is he alive or dead? Died. Damn it. Okay. Gilbert Gottfried and the Naked Dating Show. All right, everybody. That's our next contestant. Holy moly, that's a big kazoo. All right. Oh, there you go. Norm Macdonald. Hey, who else could host it? Bob Saget. Is Bob Saget dead or alive? Oh, crap. He's dead, too. Bob Saget, Gilbert Gottfried, and Norm Macdonald all hosting this naked dating show. That would be awesome. Oh my God. That would be a show, right? That would be a show. Reality shows are successful because they are stupid. We watch stupid people. Yeah. You know what show I really don't like was that I really did not like that cake show. I'm not talking about the cake bake-off. There's a show on Netflix called Is It Cake? And my God, I hated that show. And the host did not help it. The host was just annoying. I mean, he good in some times, but otherwise he'd just be kind of annoying. And then the whole premise was like they would have bakers come on and create like this little diorama of like a baseball bat and some baseballs. And then the question is that cake or is it a real baseball bat? And they'd have like these contestants. They would be like, I don't know. I think it's cake. And they were like, nope, it's real. And then bring up another thing like, oh, here's like a a salmon dinner, right? A salmon dinner. And then be like, oh, I think that's real. And then they chop it down like, no, it's cake. And be like, what's the point of this game? This is a dumb game. This is just dumb. Like, it's literally just, like, there's no strategy. It's just, well, it looks like cake or it's like either it's like literally watching Netflix is like, it's a coin toss, which it'll be. Today, welcome to Coin Toss Alley. Today, I'm going to toss a coin. You have to guess which one it is. All right, Jerry, what's the toss? I think heads. Up, tails. You lose, Jerry. Off you go. Like, how many times are you going to watch that? It's just boring. Boring. Anyhow. Have you ever caught ChatGPT writing the ending of She-Hulk? No, I've never. So ChatGPT was down for me the other day. So I was trying to figure out different names for my brews, and I was trying to ask ChatGPT to come up. So I don't know, Windows has this new beta thing where you can like use the Windows AI. And I asked Windows AI, like, hey, can you come up with some funny names for my cherry my cherry mead, and it gave me like 10 of them. And I thought those are probably lame. And I said, give me some more names for my cherry mead. And it said, I can't give you any more names, Dave. You've had enough names, Dave. I can't open the pod bay doors, Dave. No more name. I was weirded out. Like, why is Microsoft not giving me more names for my cherry mead? I want more names. Give me some more punny names because yours suck right now. So I went to ChatGPT. I went to ask ChatGPT, give me some names for my cherry mead. And it said, ChatGPT is not responding right now. I'm like, uh-oh. So, yeah, sucks. So I ended up calling my cherry mead Cherry Baby. Cherry Baby, Cherry. I tell you, I watched that movie, Jersey Boys. Not bad. Jersey Boys, not bad. Anyhow. Is there a difference in directing video game cutscenes as opposed to similar movie scene? Well, yeah. There's, you don't have any physical limitations on where you can place the camera, and you don't have any physical limitations where you can put lighting. So there's that aspect. It's like directing a video game scene, a cutscene is just super easy in that respects, and that you have no limitations essentially. It's all done on it's a good. I mean, that's the fun thing about CGI, right? Like when I used to do those scenes for the thumbnails, like all those scenes, I could just let my imagination go crazy and do whatever I wanted to. So that's the cool thing about video game cutscene is you have no limitations. Do whatever you want. But as opposed to a movie, you got a lot of limitations, especially if it's like an action cutscene, So, Bob Saget's tribute to Norm was awesome. Yeah, generally speaking. Funny, I was thinking about who I would cast in a live-action Iron Giant and who I want to direct and do the cinematography. Huh. Iron Giant is one that is rife for a live action remake, and that there's no real reason why it can't be a live action remake. You know what I mean? You could do it. You could do it. I feel like you have to pad the story out a little bit more. Yeah. Wonder fluid tripod you use Sackler M piqued my interest. I would get that Sackler M because the Sackler to me is like one of the better. I still own I have two Sackler tripods, and I've had them for like 15 to 20 years. They're beaten up a little bit, but they still work perfectly, and they're the best tripods I have. They're better than anything else I've ever owned. Now I don't own Miller tripods. I hear those are the best, but yeah, the Sacklers. Sacklers are a worthy investment. And they'll like I said, I've had those two for 15, 20 years now. Way better than my Monfrados or Benros or any of those. Sacklers just boom. Why hasn't Woody Allen been canceled regardless of guilt or innocence? The climate culture. Why would anyone be on display association with this guy? That's a good question. That is good. Why hasn't he? So regardless, because whether it's innocence or guilt, why haven't they come? I think because he's been hiding low. That's probably why he hasn't. Maybe also because. Well, maybe because. So what I'm trying to say is maybe because he hasn't. He's on the correct side of politics. So he's not like a right winger. If he was a right winger, he would be canceled. If he was but he's not. So he's okay. He hasn't been found guilty, although a lot of people have canceled him. The Me Too stuff has basically, the Me Too crowd has kind of already put him away. But maybe because he just hasn't really been in public eye. That's why he's not canceled. Because there's no point in canceling somebody that's not in public eye. Maybe that's why. I have to go now. See you too, Whelan. How long do we get a realistic Toy Story? I hope we never do, please. I mean, isn't the CGI Toy Story realistic enough? Do we really need another one? Have I seen the first Pacific? Yeah, I saw the first one. That was ever made that does not have any sequels of any. The only Pacific Rim movie that was ever. Okay, which Pacific Rim then? definitely does not have any sequels of any kind. Did they make another one? Well, unless the original one is something else. I saw the one that was it. I don't think Guillermo del Toro made it, right? Yeah, no, Guillermo. Yeah, because I saw the Guillermo del Toro movie, but they made us two, right? Am I crazy? I think they did it too. Chat will tell me. Chat knows everything. Where's my chat? Where'd chat go? There it is. Let's see. Oh, he's saying that only the first one counts? Maybe that's what he meant. Oh, okay. Gotcha. I know a video of a gamer complaining how unimaginative some video game cutscenes are. Characters just being dolls with barely any expression. The camera just cutting between the same close-ups. Yeah, but I think some video games the cutscenes are literally like the second thought, right? Because they're not. It's not why you play the game. You play the game to play it. Timothy Chalamet worked with Woody Allen and talked shit about him after. Yeah, some people will do that. Live action Toy Story Sid's Room would make it R-rated. Yeah, maybe I want to see that. I'm not his biggest fan. I only saw 3 of his movies, but he's still making them. His ability to keep getting his films made that I could not figure out. I don't think they're a big hit. I think the way Woody Allen works is he works incredibly cheap. Like he's the opposite of Scorsese. Scorsese cannot make a movie cheaply for the life of him. I think Woody Allen literally just writes scripts. He's like 89 or whatever he is. He's super old, but he just writes scripts and they shoot them essentially almost like indie films. Like he's literally like indie film level production, but he's Woody Allen. So obviously people can get, people will want to work on a Woody Allen film. Actors will want to work on a Woody Allen film. And I believe also he's based out of France now. I think French are a little bit less, I don't think the French were really on board with the Me Too stuff. Because French are a little bit, culturally they're different than Americans. And definitely different than British people. So I think that's partly why. Scorsese, like, literally cannot. Scorsese's like, I got to make a new movie, but I need $120 million. And it was like, yeah, but we don't want to greenlit that. Whereas Woody Allen's like, I want to make a movie for like $2 million. Let's get a bunch of friends together and just shoot movies and boom. Here, Jack Ripper says, Woody's friends fund his movies and Europe loves him. Yeah, so that's why. Sort of like the, what's his face? I forget. The telethon guy. You know what I'm talking about. The hi lady. That guy. Kung Pao Enter the Fist. Who saw it and why was there never a sequel? Thought it was great. I saw it a long time ago. I thought it was pretty good. You know what's interesting? The movie in a similar vein of that was Black Dynamite. But that never got a sequel, but it did get like an animated version. Like Black Dynamite. See, Jerry Lewis. Thank you. Jerry Lewis. Hi, lady. Anyhow, Jerry Lewis, the French love Jerry Lewis. Also, what happened to Charlie Chaplin? Remember Charlie Chaplin? He ended up like going to France, or living in France for like a huge chunk of his life because they wanted him for communist sympathizing or whatever. The French women petition against Me Too, considering that they slept their way to films and their rich husbands are sexual harassers that can get in prison. Well, I think the French have the French have a little different view on things in terms of sex. They've always had a different approach to sex than the Anglo folks. Crazy question. Let's hear it. 1931 movies battle. Public Enemy versus Little Caesar. Edward G versus Jimmy Cagney. What are your thoughts? I have not seen either. I need to watch. But if I had to pick, hold a gun in my head, I would say Jimmy Cagney. because I know Jimmy Cagney better than Edward G. Jimmy Cagney. When storing a fluid tripod head, should I put the drag counterbalance to the minimum points and preserve their springs? You don't have to. I mean, maybe it's not a bad idea, but you can definitely leave it. Like I said, having 20 years, I've never done it myself. It still works. Chaplin got a 15-year-old pregnant and then married her. Yeah, there's stories about that. Yeah, I don't know. Sounds like it. Edward G. Robinson. Yeah, that's the. Have you seen anything? Lanthimos. He's got that new movie out with Emma Roberts, right? Or Emma Stone. Anywhere? It got like a big, nice applause at, I think, I want to say Venice or one of those film festivals. So that should be coming out hopefully sooner or later. Paul Mooney as Scarface. There you go. That's a good choice. Downey deserved the Oscar over Ledger for 40 years. That word has kept us down. Oh, for the Tropic Thunder movie. That's a movie. That is amazing how much was crammed into that movie. There we go. Kingster says, I think it's sad that you can mention the name Jimmy Cagney today, and some people would not know of it. The actors from the times past were arguably more professional than today. More fact, more grace. That's true. I think part of the problem is we also social media. Like somebody told the actors that they could get on social media and tell everybody their lives. We don't want that. Back in those times, we had the cleaners guys. You remember, like, you watched Hail Caesar, and the very first scene of Hail Caesar, it's he breaks into this house, and it's like the star actor, the young actress taking some art photos with this guy, and he's like takes the camera and exposes the film. He's like, "No, you were never here," right? So those guys would come around and clean up. When the actors would be misbehave, and he would come by and just fix them, would fix the things. Right, make sure things are going properly. So we have to be careful when we think about the stars of the old days, because I'm sure a lot of that was sanitized and cleansed for the public acceptance. Right. Because also remember, like, one thing people don't realize, and again, I agree with you. It's sad that not even mention Jimmy Cagney's name. In my class, I will say, "Hey, who here has seen?" I'm just trying to pick a movie. I'll bet you half of my class has not seen the movie The Matrix. I bet you half haven't seen it. Like, I could pick movies like a real popular movie, like Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? There's a good chance that there's going to be at least a few students in my class that have not seen that movie, right? So, my whole point with that is, so, I forget my point with that. Other than the fact that, there's people aren't familiar with old movies. Never mind. I don't know where I'm going with that. I'm tired. I haven't had lunch because I'm saving it for dinner. But Yankee Doodle Dandy, my favorite part as a kid when I watched Yankee Doodle Dandy was watching James Cagney run up the wall and then hop off the wall and like dance. That maneuver. I love that. Never would ever try doing it myself though. Oh, Chaplin's older brother used to drive to high schools to pick up girls, according to Zanuck. He was the biggest cock man, and oh my God, even worse than Errol Flynn. Oh man, you think about Chaplin, think about that tramp the other way. Yeah, true. The actors were under the contract essentially. Oh, that was my point. Okay, that was my point. So the reason why the studio held so tight control over the images. First, it was marketing, right? But you got to remember, if you haven't seen Hail Caesar, watch that movie because it illustrates so much about that era that people don't understand about that era of filmmaking and studio system. That back in those days, the church was super powerful, right? There's a lot more. The Catholic Decency League had a lot more sway. You also got to remember that in the 20s, there's a wave of progressivism that did manage to get prohibition passed, right? So prohibition's also tied to religious movements, right? Prudish kind of religious movements. They were not unpopular; they were popular, or not necessarily always popular, but sometimes again, talk about the going, if you're going to get political again, but talk about like the paradox of tolerance. It really only takes a couple people to affect change, because if everyone else would just go with it. So the temperance movement was able to get enough steam to actually to eliminate the sale of alcohol in the United States. So movies, the studio system had to appease people like that. They had to appease folks that were from the temperance movement. And also, you got to remember, in this time period, movies were not considered form of expression, protected form of expression. They were considered commercial speech. And therefore, every single state had its own like censorship board that would cut out movies. So they had to like play real nice and make it look like they were good old honest American red-blooded salute the flag, buy your war bonds American companies, right? They had to create that impression. If they didn't, then the people that were the anti-booze league people, the anti-defamation, the Catholic Defamation League, those church organizations would start pressing with the government to censor and further regulate Hollywood, right? So that's part of the reason why they were so strict about that image stuff, right? Now, obviously, what happens in the 50s is now, hey, film is free speech. You can't censor free speech. You can't make these. I still want to do a video about, I would love to do a video about obscenity, right? Because obscenity there's like huge battles in the 50s about what was obscene, right? So a movie like Carnal Knowledge, which starred Art Garfunkel and Jack Nicholson and the redheaded girl that I love, and I can't freaking remember her name right now, right? That movie has like a couple nude scenes, but it's very relatively tame by today's standards. Like there were raids happening in Georgia where the police would come and like raid a theater for showing that movie, and it led to like several court cases about obscenity. And I think ultimately they won, the movie side won for freedom of speech, because it's like, no, there's artistic merit to here. Anyhow, Mike Nichols directed it. And it's like two first names and something another. I love her. I have a poster of her somewhere around here. I can't remember her name. And you chat will tell me. But anyhow, so part of that whole system, to think about movie making in that whole era, that whole system of how they did movies back in the 40s, moving into the 50s, was drastically different. Once obviously the studios, the implication of studios not owning theaters, that 1948 Paramount decision changes a lot of things. Like now you can no longer have that vertical monopoly, right? So then films have to fight on like popularity, and then you have this change with when film becomes freedom of speech. Couple that with like sexual revolution, the turbulent 60s. It's a dramatically shift of style of film. Anne Margaret, thank you, Anne Margaret. I never remember her name. Man, it's Anne Margaret. But yeah. So it's so to like say, well, yeah, back in those days there were so much more graceful. Like it's true. Like there's a lot of the there is no Anne Margaret today. There's no one that has quite the same charm as Anne Margaret. But then, the studio system that Anne Margaret came out of, doesn't exist anymore. So, Anne Margrock, the Flintstones version. Anyhow. Keinster says, obscenity is in the crotch of the beholder, or is in the mind. Wait, maybe the eye. That might be it. As the Supreme Court Justice said, I know it when I see it. I prefer Keaton. Yeah, I love Keaton, but I feel like Keaton is like most people today would probably recognize a picture of Charlie Chaplin. They would not recognize a picture of Buster Keaton. I still want to do I would love to do a live music showing of a Keaton movie. I just loved Keaton, and I want to do Harold Lloyd and Keaton. I feel like are super underrepresented in silent film. Like everyone thinks about Charlie Chaplin. Everyone, silent film. If you were to ask you to make me a montage of silent film, or a film history of film, and include one bit of silent film in there, you'd reach for Charlie Chaplin. You would, but I want to see. I love Buster Keaton. I always preferred Keaton over him. Nichols' first movie, Never Better. Who's Afraid of Virginia? I've never seen Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. I saw that Mommy Dearest was on my HBO Max. I want to watch those. I haven't seen those. Anyhow, Divorce Italian Style, where people were thrilled over the potential pornography of La Dolce Vita, but overwhelmingly bored with the drama. Huh. That's cool. That's interesting. Modern Times is a masterpiece. I'm not going to disagree. It really is. Modern Times, I'm trying to think. The Great Dictator has some good parts in it. But Modern Times probably has more visually, really key things. Ooh. I want a Keaton biopic and a Murnau biopic. Nice. I'd love that. Buster Keaton was amazing using practical effects and biocamera tricks. He also has an amazing physicality to him. Like, Buster Keaton's physicality is way more than Chaplin. Way more. Harold Lloyd's the master of it. Yeah, Harold Lloyd also does some pretty crazy stuff. All right, it is 5 o'clock. I'm going to wrap this up here. Last minute things before we hang out. I was enjoying hanging out with you guys. I missed it. I didn't do it last week because I was literally chalked to the walls, and then I watched I was so slammed that I just gave up after on Sunday and literally did nothing. Could not stare at the wall. But yeah, it's really good to be here again. How do I feel about the 48-hour film project? Have fun, and don't let anything get in the way of having fun. If you're not having fun, don't do it. And that's what I'll say of 48. It's not a stepping stone. Don't think of it that way. It's a fun project. Just do that. Have fun. Don't try to make it more than that. Okay? On that note, I think I'll get going. And we'll stream again here. I got to so my week's going to be crazy. I got to wrap this thing up for this my work here. Send them a bill. I'm going to send them a bill on Monday and then bill them the rest of the month. But yeah. All right, guys, we will see you. I'll see you next week. I'm definitely going to stream next week if I can. Well, maybe not Saturday, but Sunday probably. Probably next week we'll see on Sunday. All right, guys, we shall see you. I'm going to fade to black. See you later. Bye.